Welcome to my class once again in continuation with Unit 3, and I hope you know what is Unit 3 known as. It is Statistical Tools and Interpretation. In that we have finished with what is known as measures of central tendency, and now we are doing measures of dispersion. We talked of all those methods which are there, but today we are going to talk about range, and in all the three series, because this is the simplest form of dispersion, range. Now, just to repeat myself, measures of dispersion, we talked about the methods of measuring dispersion. That's based on spread of values, that is range and quartile deviation, and based on averages, based on dispersion from the averages, we have mean deviation and standard deviation. And of course, we have the Lorentz curve, which we'll do later. But today, we are doing range. What are we doing? Range. So again, as I just told you, it is the simplest method of measuring dispersion. The difference, now how do you measure? The difference between the highest value, it is the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. That is known as range. So I put as range as R, I put the largest value as L, smallest value as S. So what do I do? R is equal to, range is equal to the largest value in the series minus the smallest value. And what is the coefficient of range? It is largest value minus the smallest value in the series divided by the largest value plus the smallest value. You get coefficient of range. Now based on this formula, this goes for all the three series. I'm talking about individual series, I'm talking about the discrete series, and I'm also talking about the continuous series. Now let's just take the individual series. So instead of just telling you theoretically, I've given you a formula. Let's just take calculate range and coefficient of range from the following data. Now x is given as 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 175, 180, 190 and 200. Well, they are arranged. If they are not arranged, first things first, you got to arrange them in ascending order. Now in this, which is the smallest value? It is 100. And which is the, so I call it and which is the highest value here? 200. Okay. So you can either write H or L or whatever, or L minus small, largest minus smallest, however, but it means the same. So you got to define them. So you have put L as the lowest value, I put H as the highest value. Now range is equal to, because in some books you'll find that, so don't get confused. So range is equal to, here L stands for the largest, S is the smallest. So in some books they've written that. So range will be, what is the highest value here? 200. I've written 200 minus the lowest value is 100. So what is the range? It is 100. Now coefficient of range is 200, that is the highest value minus the lowest divided by the highest plus the lowest. So 100 upon 300 is equal to 0.33. So that is the coefficient of range. So that is the range. So once again, let me just tell you, it is the simplest of the dispersion. It is the simplest method of measuring dispersion. The difference between the highest value and the lowest value of a series is known as a range. So you can define it as the difference between the two extreme items of the distribution, the largest and the smallest. Okay, or the highest or the lowest, however you want to put it. Now we come to the next one, which is the discrete series. So what is a discrete series? First of all, in the discrete series, we are given the variables, x is the variable, and we also are given the frequencies. Here in the individual series, the variables are listed singly. Here they are with their corresponding frequencies. How many times? Like for example, if it's 25 is 2, frequency is 2, that means 25 and 25. It appeared 2 times. Okay, now the same way. We have 25, 28, 30, 35, 75. Now let me be very clear in this. Please don't worry about the frequencies. We are just talking about the values. In this, we are not worried about the frequencies, either in the discrete series or the continuous series. So even after doing very carefully, I find students working out the range from the frequencies. Don't do that. So I'm not even going to read out the frequencies to you. It's not to be even looked at. Just look at the values. So which is the largest, the lowest value here? 25. Which is the highest? 75. So highest minus lowest value, that is how much? Highest value is 75 minus the lowest is 25 is equal to 50. So this is how highest minus lowest, highest plus lowest. That's how you will do it, 50 upon 100, and that's what you get, 0.5. Is that clear, all of you? Now, see, let me just also tell you that range is just affected by extreme values. It is not based on all the values, just remember. As long as the minimum and maximum values remain unaltered, any change in other value does not affect the range. So if you feel like changing something and writing it as 29, suppose within this, if I want to change this, change these values as, let me just write it down. Suppose I want to change these values between these two. I can put it as 30, okay, I can put it as 45, I can put it as 60. If I change these 3 values, still, if the largest and the smallest are not tampered with, then the range is going to remain the same, because you're talking about the highest value hasn't changed and the lowest value hasn't changed. But I have changed the variables in between. It really doesn't matter. The range remains the same if you don't tamper with the largest, that's the lowest and the highest value, or the smallest or the largest values, whatever. So this is how you get. So highest minus lowest, then highest plus the lowest values. This is how, 0.5. Now we're going to talk about the continuous series. What is a continuous series? In this, we have the class intervals given. Okay, the class intervals are given as 50 to 60, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100. Now see, I haven't even written the frequencies here, just to make it very clear to you. Don't look at the frequencies at all, but I'm going to write it down because it doesn't really. Continuous series will not look at like a series if I don't write it down. I have to give the frequencies, so I'm going to write, okay, whatever. So these are the frequencies, but don't look into this. You don't even have to bother. So what are you going to look at? The frequencies could be anything, whatever it might have. We are going to take the lowest value as 50, that is the class interval, the lower limit, and the upper limit of the last class interval. That is what we are going to consider. So highest minus lowest, so that works out to be 100 minus 50 is 50. So 100 minus 50 is equal to 50, and 100 plus 50 is equal to 150. So what do you get? 0.33, that is a coefficient of range. So I hope you've understood what it is. Now range, again, in all the 3 series, as you've seen, it is a simple way of measuring dispersion. And even so, people do make a mistake here by taking in the frequencies, and please don't do that. So for homework, again, you can please write down, do this exercise in all the 3 series, and open your books and take up any of these illustrations and do it.